Are you a fan of very strange comedies that aren't ha 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 funny, but just really peculiar and situational, and they use some of the most absurd things to make a point? This might be the movie for you, but I don't think it's going to be for everybody. Let's get into it. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free talk about a movie that just came out in theaters called Rumours. It's considered to be sort of a horror comedy. It's a political satire, political drama, dark comedy with zombie-ish stuff in it. And yeah, I was extremely curious. Just watching the trailer alone and seeing a gigantic brain and weird zombie kind of creatures made me go, okay, so somebody spiked my coffee. Before we get started, though, I do want to point out someone that wrote a comment to me. Now, I asked on the community post and in the video that I did with Crystal Cleveland, which if you have not seen, we did our 10 scariest movies that scared us as kids. And you should definitely check it out. We had a blast doing that, which I asked if somebody left a comment on our page, I might pick it and use it in a video. So here it is. When I was 5, my parents went to drive-in to see Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, which is an older film that Christina and I actually did as a podcast episode with another movie. But it starts out with a scene in which Bruce Dern is murdered and they actually showed his hand being chopped off. I was simply paralyzed with shock. Had nightmares about this film for months. Last week, I saw Terrifier 3 twice, and I felt nothing but enjoyment. Things have changed. I thought that was really funny. But yes, things have changed, my friend. Things have changed. But thanks for sharing your comment. If you guys have a comment about this video, let me know. Maybe I'll share it on the next video. Rumours is a movie that I was given a screener copy to, so thank you Bleecker Street and Strike Media for allowing me the opportunity to check this out. Another reason I was interested in this movie is that Ari Aster's production company, Square Peg, and him being an executive producer on this movie made me very curious as to see what kind of film this was going to be. Now, to be fair, just because Ari's attached to this doesn't mean that there's not a lot of other group. In fact, there's about 49 different people attached to the production side of this film, and it seems very much a passion project that 3 of the directors in this movie really wanted to make together. They've worked together on other projects, and we'll go over that now. But first, what the hell is Rumours all about? There is a group of leaders, 7 of which, who are wealthy democracies around the world who get lost in the woods drafting a statement for their G7 conference on a global crisis. Suddenly, they start to realize that everybody's gone around them and night has suddenly appeared and there are muck monster people that have come up out of the ground and they're not sure exactly why. And what you find out that these muck people do in the movie will definitely surprise you. Yeah. 7 dignitaries from around the world, including America, coming together to make this wonderful statement that they write every year. And it is a movie that is definitely taking the piss out of that sentiment. It is not a movie that is going to pick a side. That I can tell you for sure. In fact, all the dignitaries or democracies that are around the world include like Japan, France, Canada, like US, UK, Italian or something like that, but they all have their own sort of like stereotypes about them, not specific to any one that you would see in office now, although some people are making the comparison to the US one as to Biden because apparently he takes naps in the movie. But I really think that might be a dig, but I really just think they're making a joke about something. And we do have Charles Dance and Cate Blanchett in this movie. Charles Dance plays the US guy and Cate Blanchett is the German lady. So they're kind of playing their dignitaries of those countries. They do a pretty decent job, but honestly, this is a weird movie for performances, so it's gonna be a mix of everything. Personally, I was pretty confused as to what the hell this movie was about. There is a lot of talking and a lot less action than I expected from this movie. This seems to be, like I said, a passion project between director and writer Evan Johnson, who wrote and directed this movie, but he also had help from director Galen Johnson and Guy Madden. All of them have worked on The Forbidden Room and The Green Fog, which is like a reworking of another movie. So it's been done before, but these guys have worked on all of that, including Galen, who is also a composer, a writer, and a director. All of them have kind of been all around workers on it. And even Galen Johnson actually worked on Beau is Afraid with Ari Aster. So there's a lot of connections there. And from what I heard and what I read about in a interview, they're really just making jokes that they find funny for themselves and decided to make this piece of art that they thought would be funny to everybody else. Now, Guy Madden has done other projects as well, and you know, they're also kind of weird and out there too. They say the more on the nose version of weird, so it's a little bit more hand-fed than the other movies, which just kind of set you adrift and you're wondering what the hell's going on. I personally have not seen those other movies, but that's just the vibe I get. And, you know, I think what I'm getting here is that the person who wrote this and made this is really just kind of saying, yeah, words don't really help anything when we're having a crisis. And it's like what Western democracy is kind of doing when times get tough. Instead of getting down in the dirt, so to speak, and getting your hands dirty, they think writing a soliloquy is going to help, you know, make the world better. And throughout this movie, when all these crazy things happen, like a giant brain in the forest, or muck people coming up out of the ground, you realize that all they give a shit about is this stupid summit. And some of them don't care, some of them do. You get to see all the stereotypes in it. In fact, Canada is the young prime minister, and he is sex obsessed with everybody who's a woman and has like emotional problems, but he's also this hero. It's a very weird mix, and I don't know who that would compare to. Other than the fact that he's young and Justin Trudeau is young, I really don't know. This is a very centrist position where it's kind of making fun of all sides. So if you are worried about some sort of political thing, it's really just kind of making fun of the whole shebang. Really, ultimately, this isn't a horror movie. It's just like a political satire comedy set in a world where there's big brains and muck people, which have horror elements, I guess you would call it. Just to have that absurdist side to be able to sort of tell their jokes on and make fun of politics. You know, there was some funny parts in it, but I wouldn't call this like a laugh out loud comedy. This is definitely someone that's like, oh, I know. And that's it. They decided to turn it into an hour and a half, you know, story. And for those people, that's going to be really awesome. And I have my own personal opinions. You have your own personal opinions. And the people who made this movie obviously knew what they were getting into. In fact, in the interview, they know that people aren't going to really get this, even if it is one of the more hand-fed films. It's just a weird movie. The movie progresses on, and all they care about is this stupid statement. I didn't hate it, but I definitely don't think that I would be like a fan of it. Like, I appreciate being able to see something as weird as this as anybody. I can't just make stuff up. That's my entire thing here. And yeah, I think a lot of people are not going to like this movie, but for those that like a subtle humor that is kind of picking at both sides of the spectrum, well, this might be for you. And it's not just, you know, focused on one specific event or anything. They never talk about what the event is. They just are making a statement about it while the world's ending. But yeah, I would say that for me, there was some long, draggy conversations going on that really didn't pan out to kind of lift the comedy up later. Some of it did. Some of it was just obligatory fill, in my personal opinion. It just definitely is not going to be for a lot of people. I would probably give this like a 5 out of 10. There was really no suspense or anything. It's really about the dialogue. It's almost like a chamber piece, being that these people are stuck in this like grove, this tiny island that they're on to have like a dignitary's breakfast or something, you know? And that against the backdrop of Doomsday is really contrasting, which I'm sure some people find subtly humorous, and they made a movie about it. So, but yeah, I would love to hear what you guys think about this movie or anything that is like it, weird movies in general that kind of fit the bill on this kind of thing. I know they're not for everybody, but I definitely like to give them a chance because sometimes there's those weird gems that I just love to add to the collection. And I can think of a couple like the Dupree guy who did Wrong Cops or, you know, Rubber. Those are weird movies that are just weird. And this one's kind of in that line, but it takes itself a little too serious, I think. And the comedy was definitely not for me. Sound off in the comment section down below. Hit the like and subscribe button and the little bell notification. Stab the crap out of it. But yes, thanks for coming by. And as always, long live the void.